Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tom Worth Jr. and what's on my mind today is Russia and Ukraine, and Russia stepping up its bombings, its missile attacks on Ukraine, and Trump's reaction to that. It seems pretty surprising that he may actually finally be catching on to what the rest of the world has known about Vladimir Putin for decades now, which is that he is not a man of his word. And Trump actually does believe, we all think that Putin has the goods on Trump and has always held them over him. But Trump has obviously always believed that he and Putin are buddies. And that Putin could set aside his own goals and objectives for his friend Donald Trump to give him a win with ending the war. And we also all know that Putin has never had any intention of ending the war. We also know that he did not start the war only because Joe Biden was in office. Trump saying all along that he would end the war was completely predicated on his false belief that Ukraine would simply surrender once Donald Trump ordered them to do so. Ukraine will never surrender. And what Donald Trump did not realize was one, Ukraine will never surrender. Two, Europe would rise to the occasion and not roll over. So there has been speculation that for the last few days, with Russia stepping up its attacks, before that they were actually at the negotiating table, but not because of Donald Trump, because Russia was responding to threats of more European sanctions against them. Also, Europe has said they would lift the limits to missiles that Ukraine could launch, lift the limits on the ranges of those missiles. Imagine you're Ukraine and you are fighting a war that you did not start, a war of aggression to take over your country, and you're getting help from people. The same people that assured you when you voluntarily surrendered your nuclear arsenal a few decades ago that if you ever come under attack, we will defend you. But you have to give up your nukes. And Ukraine did so. And they came under attack. And begrudgingly, they have been defended by some, others more vigorously. But that's the situation they find themselves in. But also, with this help, it's a defensive war for Ukraine. They're not allowed to just all out attack Russia. They have limits on the weapons. They didn't even have tanks for a very long time. Europe and the US did not want to provide tanks to them. Finally, they did, and that really allowed Ukraine to gain some leverage on the battlefield. Ukraine's homegrown drone industry is the stuff of legend now. What they've been able to just build from the ground up to the most potent drone force in Europe. They're doing this with support, but also with one arm tied behind their back. And as long as Europe keeps loosening the reins a little bit, Russia is getting a little more. I think they're going to be under intense pressure to try to end this thing or get a better bargaining position than they already have, because Russia is running out of money. They're running out of munitions, and Europe is just gearing up. I was reading about Germany building up their arsenal now, and we know that they lifted some constitutional restrictions on how much they could spend, how much debt they could go into for their military in Germany. And like, all bets are off now as to what the future of Europe is going to look like now without the United States over there. It is looking like Germany is taking the lead militarily and will continue to do so. This has got to rattle Vladimir Putin. He may be annoyed that he lost his territory in the Ukraine and in some of the Baltic republics, but he hasn't had to worry about Germany ever. Russia hasn't had to worry about Germany since the end of World War II, since Hitler took his own life. That's the last time Russia had to even remotely worry about Germany. Now Russia is going to have to worry about Germany. And I would think that that would have to terrify Vladimir Putin. So I think he's going to pull out all the stops now and try to get whatever he can in Ukraine. And it's just making Donald Trump look like more and more the fool that he is. And every time, this is interesting, the Republican Congress will never stand up to Donald Trump, ever. But every now and then, they will pipe up in favor of Ukraine or against Russia. And this enrages Donald Trump to no end because he takes it personally. And he knows that all the Republicans in Congress, or kind of the old school Republicans in Congress, the old true Republicans, really view Russia as the enemy that they are and always have been. It's only the new people that are on the take from Russia in the Republican Congress that don't. So Trump takes it personally if anyone in Congress dares say a word in favor of Ukraine or against Russia. But now Trump himself is speaking out against Putin. So he had his social media post the other day that Putin has gone crazy. But then today he said that he posts that basically Trump single-handedly has kept very bad things from happening to Russia. That Trump is the only thing keeping very bad things happening from Russia. And that's the smoking gun right there. Trump himself is solely responsible for helping Russia in this. The United States is an ally of Russia as long as Trump is in power, or at least Trump is. The Republican Congress does not want to be an ally of Russia, but they have to because they're scared of Donald Trump. So every now and then we get a glimpse of Putin showing his true colors, and that making Trump mad and making Trump look like a fool. And then Trump will say something, and then the Republican Congress can come out and say what they've always wanted to say. But I think that will die down quickly. I think some back channels will go into effect here, and Trump will go back to blaming Zelensky and saying it's his fault and they need to come to the negotiating table. But the fact is, Ukraine's not going to surrender, and Europe is only getting stronger by the day and stronger in their support of Ukraine. So the longer this plays out, the better it is for Ukraine. The worse it is for Putin, the worse it is for Trump. Trump will have nothing to do with any sort of peace in this, and I think that's pretty hilarious. But it's nice to see Trump wake up for a second to what Putin really is. But I wouldn't expect it to last for long. I would expect the Russians to get to him on the backside and cooler heads prevail, and Trump to get back to being buddies with Putin and blaming Zelensky. So I would say, as with every whiplash policy of Trump, whether it's tariffs or trade or Ukraine or whatever it is, it's always whiplash. It's always back and forth. And the fact that he has now said bad things about Putin for a few days in a row, just look for it to go back the other way pretty hard and pretty quickly. That's it for tonight, and we will talk to you all later. Hope everyone's doing well. See ya. Bye.